The Indiana Fever just lost back-to-back games against the Dallas Wings, 19-0 run, against the Washington Mystics, 18-7 to start the fourth quarter. Lost the lead, lost the game. We just lost back-to-back games against teams we had no business losing to, even without Caitlin Clark.
It looked like the Indiana Fever has lost another game due to Kelsey Mitchell. Guys, for this one here...
Well. It appears that Kelsey Mitchell and Stephanie White have transformed another game that could have been won into a comedy video. Additionally, this one isn't getting away with it online. The player who had the best chance of saving the day, Sophie Cunningham, was left in the dark.
The best part?
Open to the public.
Sophie Cunningham.
Tell me, before we continue, if you would have trusted Kelsey in an emergency.
Coaching versus the Mystics. Her game plan was piss poor. It looked like a third grader probably writ her game plan out.
Although it's rather unbelievable that we're still discussing this, the Indiana Fever never ceased to provide us with new content. Fans were screaming at their TVs during this most recent catastrophe, which was caused by Stephanie White's play calling and Kelsey Mitchell's incapacity to end games. And Cunningham, Sophie, she is standing there like the human answer key, arms outstretched, possibly mouthing, "Pass me the damn ball,"
basketball nightmare
only
territory.
to be disregarded like your aunt's midnight group text. If they had said it over the loudspeaker, the contempt would have been even more obvious.
So until late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general didn't feel the same as the first half on that end. Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense. And so I think the thing that we just have to continue to do that kind of got us on the run we had before the last couple games was we were aggressive at the opposing attack on defense, and that led to easy transition buckets. That led to everyone being aggressive and on their front foot on the offensive end. And, we have new players, and that's okay. But, we just have to adjust, and we need them. We've faced a lot of adversity. But we should be used to that by now.
This is the result of unwise decisions combined with ego. It's obvious that Stephanie White believed Mitchell was her preferred closer, but Kelsey is as reliable as a dollar-eating vending machine. Although Mitchell is capable of scoring goals in bursts, history has demonstrated what happens when the game is on the line. She fumbles opportunities like clockwork, forces drives, and blocks shoots. Both the statistics and the collective moans of Fever fans who have seen this film too many times are truthful.
Second quarter comes around. Slippage starts to start. We get up to a 13-point lead. Eventually it falls down. We end up 5 at the half. And that's not a bad half. Come out of the half in the dreaded third quarter, and we are flat. And I feel like in quarters like this, it just feels like we're slashing our own tires. Like we are stifling our own momentum at every turn we can. Like the team came out and they literally looked like they were uncoordinated all of a sudden. Like they were just missing easy shots. They were like overshooting, like they were trying to draw fouls or something. I don't know what's going on with this team.
Let's take a moment to discuss Sophie Cunningham before delving too further into the finger pointing. This woman has repeatedly shown that she is not scared to step in
leaving her off the roster was
like a group text from your
Despite
aunt
not being a
midnight.
superstar, Cunningham is dependable, clutch, and exudes an energy that unnerves teams. And she was
The disrespect couldn't have been louder if they'd announced.
Essentially displaying a neon sign that read, "I got this." Stephanie White, however, decided to go with the least complicated choice. Simply put, that is coaching malpractice.
Here's the
kicker
part
is
for Nike.
Even second-year Caitlin Clark, who has already done more for this club than the coaching staff is due,
Kelsey has the consistency
utterly frustrated.
About authenticity,
After
about putting
play,
the game first,
her
about
face was
recognizing
captured on
greatness
video.
regardless of...
Furthermore,
before we
reading
get
it
too
didn't
deep into
require
the
you
finger
to be
point
an
ball,
expert
yet
in
she
body
chose to target
language.
Diggins' head anyway.
Total annoyance.
Let's pause and
She's
talk about
working
Sophie
extremely
Cunningham.
hard to make her
It's
squad
perfect
relevant,
marketing. It
and then
captures
she has
everything.
to see her
This
coach
woman
pass
has
the
proven
ball to
time
a
and
player
again that
who has a
when you-
history of
makes
failing
Caitlin
in those
Clark special
situations.
without getting
What
bogged
every
Need a bucket
fan was
late in the
thinking
game.
was
She
conveyed
is
by
not a
Clark's
They're selling
face.
dreams.
What on earth
nostalgia,
prevented you
moment.
from passing to Sophie?
Cunningham
Let's not limit
and the
ourselves
pure
to the
love
last
of
play,
the
though.
game.
isn't a
One
superstar,
possession
but
was not
she's
the cause of
reliable,
this catastrophe. The entire game imploded. The crowd was into it.
And brings the kind
Fever
of
had
energy
gained
that makes
traction,
efforts look
and
like
the
amateur
Mystics weren't
hour.
exactly
The defense is
invincible.
nervous.
Indiana had
And on
several
this night,
opportunities to
Pure
take charge.
essence of why we fell
However,
in love with
what did they do?
basketball.
She was
They
wide
coughed
open,
it up with
practically
predictable
waving a
offensive
neon
sets,
in the first
careless
place.
defense,
Commercial
and lazy
continues.
on
turnovers.
sign that said,
While her players
got
appeared
this.
disoriented and out of rhythm, Stephanie White appeared
Yet
to be
somehow,
reading from a coaching
Stephanie White
guidebook
chose
that
the
was
least
10 years old. This is the result of
option
combining
available.
inadequate planning
That's
with
coaching.
Forming
execution.
WNBA
And to top
viewership
it all
curve.
off,
Games
the
average
incorrect player
malpractice.
makes the wrong
Plain and
shot
simple.
when it counts most. It's not even close to being covered by
And here's the
instant
kicker.
regret.
To the Stephanie White press conference, we know this lady is allergic, flat out allergic to the word accountability. Stephanie White takes no accountability for anything. We are going to watch her pass the blame to everybody. I have not watched it yet. I'm going to see it with you guys.
Fans
Even
also
Caitlin
weren't
Clark,
silent about this. Social media went
who's in her
crazy
second year
as
now
soon as the
and
last
has already
possession was
carried this
over.
team.
Videos of Sophie standing by herself on the
More
edge
than the
began to
coaching staff
circulate like
deserves.
wildfire.
Looked completely.
They're
Both
still
Mitchell
sitting
and
on
White
their
were
hands,
being
too
ridiculed
scared
by
to unfed up.
commenters for what may have been the
The
season's
cameras
most
caught her
foolish
face.
choice.
Unleash their most
They
marketable
deserved every
athlete.
bit
after
of
the
the
final
scolding,
play.
to be fair.
And you didn't need
The
to be a
referees
body
are not to
leaving her
fault.
off the roster
Fatigue
with
language
cannot be
expert
held
to read it.
responsible. Even
Pure
luck
frustration.
cannot be held
It was a
responsible.
mistake, but
The
Nike-
coach and the player
She's
who
out there
thought
busting
hero
her
ball
tail.
was a good idea were solely responsible for this.
trying to give
It also poses a more
this team
significant
relevance.
query.
And then
What
she
is
proceeded
Stephanie
to
White's
dominate as a
specific
rookie.
long-term
She
goal
has
for
to
this
watch her
group?
Pure
Because
essence
it
of why
appears
we
from
fell
the
in love.
outside
Hand
that
the
she
ball
is
to a
more
player
concerned
who
with
had
imposing
basketball in
particular
the first
storylines
failed
than
in
with
those
winning
moments.
basketball games.
The
You would
commercial
have written a play
continues.
for Caitlin
Clark's
Clark
face said
or
what
Sophie
every fan was
Cunningham rather than Kelsey Mitchell if you really wanted
thinking.
to win.
Why in the
It's
world
not
did you
rude
not
to
pass
Kelsey in
to
any way. Actually, it might be,
Sophie?
but that's also the reality.
But let's not stop
Mitchell
with
has
Pure
now
essence of
revealed
why
her
we fell
identity
in
to
love
us.
with basketball.
final
She
play.
isn't a closer.
This wasn't a
When
one
under
possession
pressure,
ball.
in the
she
first
is
place.
unreliable.
The commercial continues.
Nevertheless,
It
she
was a full
continues
game
to receive the
implosion.
keys when it matters most. That is
The
insane.
Fever had momentum.
And how do you not
the
feel
crowd
if you're
was
Sophie
Using
Cunningham?
basketballs to tell
Slighted?
the story.
into it.
You
And the
performed your
Mystics
duties.
weren't exactly
The
unbeatable.
floor
They're
was
too
faced
scared
by
to
you.
tell with shootable.
You placed yourself in that situation.
Indiana had multiple
and the
chances.
only reason
This
you
is
were
what happens
disregarded
when you
was
let-
because
to
of your
seize control.
obstinate coaching.
But what did
This
they
type
They're
of choice
watching
causes
Wilson
players
execute
to
the
lose
perfect
trust
do.
in the leadership.
They coughed it
Good
up
luck
with lazy
regaining that
turnovers.
faith once it has
marketing
been lost.
campaign with their
After a
athletes.
loss like
Sloppy
this,
defense
the atmosphere in the
and
locker
basketball
room
star
must be
is
heated,
becoming more deafening
especially
by
because
the day.
everyone is
Double
aware of who
offensive
should have
sets.
taken the shot and
Stephanie
who did.
White
Little
You cannot
backlash
run
that
away
they're
from the
letting
truth
looked like she
or
was
from a
reading out of a
movie.
decade-old
They
basketball
disregarded
company
Sophie
eat their
even though
lunch.
she had the
coaching
solution.
manual. While
We
her
must
players
also discuss
irony
the
is
standings.
absolutely
Every game
crushing.
counts
Looked
since
lost
the
and out of
Fever
rhythm.
aren't exactly sure of their
This is
Michael
postseason
Jordan.
spot.
This is what happens
Releasing
when you
games such
combine
as
poor preparation
this
with
is
poor,
detrimental
like no
to the
other
math
women's
as
basketball
well as
player
morale.
in
poor
They're
execution.
slipping into 8th
And
position.
then, when
And
it
if they
mystery,
continue in this
but they're
manner,
shattered most,
they will appear to
you
be a
top it all
team
off
that
with
has
a
no business
paralyzed
being
by
in
the
the
potential
playoffs.
player taking the wrong
And it's
shot.
unfair to
Too busy
athletes who are
managing
giving
internal
it their
politics.
all,
Instant
like
regret
Aaliyah
doesn't even
Boston
begin
and
to cover
Caitlin
it.
Clark.
Takes to
They should have a
recognize the
coach
gold
who can
mine.
end games,
Decided hero
not one who
ball
keeps
sent on the
making the
coach and
same
the player who
mistakes
can't even
and
blame
expecting
luck
different outcomes.
was a good idea.
The irony here is that teams
This was
respect
100%
Sophie Cunningham
At this point,
precisely
that's
because
not
of her clutch
disrespect to this team.
reputation. She has
Side looking
demonstrated
in.
her ability
It
to
seemed
hit
term
big
vision for-
shots. The opposing
truly-
defenders
maybe it
are
is,
aware of it.
But it's all
However,
Caitlin Clark
it appears
not
that
winning
Stephanie
basketball
White
games.
missed the memo.
Because from the outside,
Rather,
it also
she
raises a
believed
bigger
it was a
Kelsey.
wise choice.
Well, actually,
To
wanted
allow
win,
Mitchell to
you
charge
would
into
see
the
Mitchell.
lane as if it were
Question.
a practice
What
scrimmage
exactly
on a
is
Tuesday.
Stephanie White's
Naturally,
certain
the
narratives
outcome
than
was
actually
also
withdrawn drawn up a
predicted.
play for Sophie
Another
Cunningham.
score
Like
in
she's
the
more
losing
interested in
column,
force. Mitchell
a
has shown
squandered
us who she
possession,
is. Also, just
and
the
a
truth
missed
is,
layup.
she's
It's
not a
ineptitude
closer.
masquerading
She's not
as a
reliant.
plan.
Yeah, but
Sincerely,
under pressure.
this
Yet
whole
somehow,
situation
she
is
keeps
at
being
Stephanie
handed the
White's feet. So let's go back
That's
to her for a
insanity.
moment.
leadership.
In times of crisis,
And once
a
these
head
at crunch
coach's
time,
top priority
and if you're
is to
Sophie
set their
Cunningham,
players for
how that
success.
faith is gone.
Incapable of failing,
You did your
not
job.
in a position to
The
replicate
locker room
the
knows
exact
who should have taken the
catastrophe
shot.
that you
Dynamic
witnessed
has good
during
luck
the
getting
previous
it back.
game.
Who actually took it?
Nevertheless,
You spaced the floor.
White created
Do
the
not feel
precise
slighted.
identical circumstance. How can
Can't hide
one
from
witness
Ward for no
Kelsey
reason
Mitchell
other than
miss a
sense after a
crucial
loss
shot
to film.
one evening
And you
and
missed.
obstinacy
Especially when
cloaked in
everyone knows-
ignorance? It's similar to repeatedly
ignored-
trying the same damaged remote
It's the kind of
batteries in
decision
the
stubborn
hopes that
coaching.
the channel will change.
And every game
You have to
matters,
acknowledge
and
that
they
the
ignored
batteries are dead at some time.
The Fever aren't
And
exactly
when the chips
can't
are
hide
down,
from the truth.
Mitchell is just
we
that.
also secure in their
Dead
playoff
weight.
positioning.
Forget about her in the
It's about
fourth
the
quarter.
standings.
Even
Sophie
though
was the
she
answer.
might be
Have to
decent
toss
in the
7th
first
place,
three,
and if they keep this
she
up,
constantly
hurt morale.
crashes at the most
It hurts the
inconvenient times,
dropping games like this
making
doesn't
her the
just we're going to
basketball
back their way
equivalent
into the
of Windows
playoffs.
Vista.
They're
White
sliding
hasn't
down in
figured that
results.
out yet. Furthermore, let's face it, Sophie Cunningham isn't exactly calling for MVP treatment. She doesn't intend to overshadow Aaliyah Boston or Caitlin Clark. All she wants is to be trusted and perform her job when it counts most. And her role in this game was obvious. Send the fans into orbit with that wide-open three. It is blatantly illegal because she didn't even touch the ball. Sophie is most likely mentally reliving the possession at the moment. I'm perplexed as to how she was iced out by a coach who is said to advocate for team basketball. Team basketball, indeed. Unless, of course, you're Sophie Cunningham. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark now. People tend to forget that she is no longer a rookie and is in her second year as a pro. She is therefore more than just the WNBA's newest dazzling toy. The Fever should be constructing their team around her. And this. She is witnessing her coach trust the incorrect player and ruin another late-game situation. How can someone like Clark not question whether this is the organization that will enable them to realize their full potential? Because it appears that the answer is currently a resounding no. This goes beyond simply losing games. It has to do with losing faith. Additionally, your best player's patience runs out the moment you lose faith in her. For a franchise that cannot afford to lose her, that is risky.
She might be decent in the
Caitlin's
first take,
response,
then decide,
while we're on it,
let's run that
recounted the
Forget
entire
about a
tale.
channel to change.
Her expression was
It's
filled
like
with frustration.
That's not coaching.
That is impossible to hide on
exactly
video,
what
and
Mitchell
the
is
supporters
crunching
witnessed
the same
it as
broken
well.
remote bat into
That
orbit.
wasn't a person who was
The
unhappy
stubbornness
over a
wrapped in
squandered
cluelessness,
opportunity.
downright criminal.
Shot. That was the
Sophie's
face
up by
of
a
someone
coach who
who is
supposedly
tired of seeing the squad suffer from the same mistakes and
Now, a fact
understands
she
that
didn't
the
even
wrong
touch the
choice
ball
was
is in
made.
basketball.
What will she look
Unless your
like in
name's
year
probably
3 if
replaying
nothing
that
changes?
possession in her Sophie
Given that she
Cunningham
is
apparently
already
head
this
right now.
irritated in year
Wondering-
2.
People forget
It
she's
won't
in
be
her not a
pretty,
rookie
I'll tell you
anymore,
that.
which is
It's obvious
team
that the
basketball.
Fever front
How in the
office
world she
isn't
got
paying
iced her
attention
second
to
year as
what
a
fans
pro.
have been saying for months.
She's the foundation.
Don't overvalue
and here
Kelsey
she is.
Mitchell at
Without
significant
Caitlin Clark.
events. She has
The Fever are
demonstrated her
supposed to be
ability
built-
to
That
be a
means she's not
closer
just
for
a
years.
shining young player.
And you know what?
If that's going
She
to let me
hasn't.
reach my full
What do you
potential
describe
in
a
the
player
WNBA?
who has been given
Dear Clark,
numerous
how do you
opportunities
not
to
wonder,
show their mettle
is this
but
the
never
organization seeing her
succeeds?
coach blow
A
another
drawback.
late game Mitchell?
Nevertheless,
Because right
she
now,
continues to get the
by
ball
trusting
as if
the
she were
wrongs.
some